Hey, Amanda.
Hi, good morning. Steve,
Steve.
you look like you just got off of like a boat on the Greatest Catch show or whatever, the one where they catch the crabs. That's your look this morning.
Good lobster catch this morning, I'll say.
Wait. Oh, I don't know. I can't do that accent.
We're down in Denver brewing with another brewery, and nice and chilly here inside the brewery.
It's going to be cold all over today. Steve, are you allowed to say what brewery you're at?
Yeah, we're at Strangecraft.
Oh, cool.
With our friends at Strangecraft.
Good beer. Morning, Paul.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. Thank you. Great. I have a 9 o'clock. I'm going to try to push it off, but
You're fine. I'm trying to make this like an hour today. So
okay.
I just kind of want to make it a work session type thing where we get a little bit of a consensus to move forward with whatever we consensus upon.
Okay. Sounds perfect. It's very good, thoughtful language.
I don't think consensus upon is really a word or a phrase.
No, but it's so. I don't think so either, but that's okay. I understood what you meant. And there are all these linguists now talking about, well, if you get the meaning across, isn't it okay?
I can't get on board with that.
Me neither, but
Not even a little.
I'm too much of a prig. No, that's not correct.
Webster's Dictionary with us this morning.
What's that?
Good morning, Mary. How are you?
Good morning. Did you get that email that I sent you yesterday afternoon?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
It's in my hands.
Okay, cool.
How are you, Kevin?
I'm good. Did I drop the ball on doing bullet points about why we were going to go with Bullfinch for the banner design?
They voted on it, so.
Is it done? Is it a done deal?
Yeah.
We approved? Okay.
Yeah, you dropped the ball.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Paul's always there, full of support. Okay, well.
He's got your back.
Okay.
They did it in spite of your sloth and forgetfulness, Kevin.
Okay. Just checking. Okay, good. That's one less thing to keep me up at night. That delights me.
They voted on it last night, so.
Oh, makes me very happy.
Yeah, you guys had a really good meeting last night, Mary.
That's because it was done in under an hour. That's why it was.
No way.
And they're like, Mom, they're talking about you. They're talking about the mountain lions. You need to get on. Like, what? And then I came in my kitchen. I was like, they're not talking about us. Just let it go. Just let them talk. Because I had in the background while I was cooking dinner.
I don't want to throw a fellow colleague under the bus, but it was rather funny the way that got brought up. And it was like, do we have a mountain lion problem? Like, hello. So I'll pick on him personally later, but that was amusing to me.
Well, and technically that video was Ward 1. I didn't want to,
Well,
belabor
that's true. Yeah.
Ward 1.
Hey, you guys keep him over there. I'm fine with that.
It shouldn't be a shock to any of us that they're around.
Really.
Give everybody a minute here. I know that everyone's got a lot on their plates today, so I'm just trying to make it. So who's missing? Morning, Jan. How are you? All right. All right. So we have. It's 8:30, so we will probably go ahead and get started. We will go ahead and call this special meeting of the Georgetown Business Promotions Commission to order, and I will let Jen do roll call. Yay, Cass is here.
Okay. Alrighty. Chairman Cooper,
Present.
Justin Dowd, Vice Chairman,
Here.
Kevin Kuharik,
Here.
Steve Skalski,
Here.
Paul Boat,
Present.
Jan McCollum,
Here.
and Mary Smith.
Here.
And I think that is everybody. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jen. For the agenda today, we have one topic on the agenda, and that is the discussion of the future marketing plans for the commission. Is there any other? I'd like to keep the agenda focused on that unless anyone has anything that's pressing. Cool. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. Motion carries. So obviously the point of this special meeting today is to kind of get our heads wrapped around the problem at hand, which is basically the fact that we will be losing our new but dynamic marketing duo, which was Kyle and Katie. We've had a lot of back and forth on marketing since I've been on the commission, and for those who have been on for a pretty significant amount of time, which is most of us, it's obviously we've had a lot of ups and downs on this front. So basically the goal of today was to open it up to the floor. If anybody had any amazing ideas or any feedback on what we should do as a commission moving forward, so we can start getting RFPs out or proposals out for other options if we need to. And I'm super excited that Cass was able to join us today. So Cass, just to get you up to speed, we had established our promotions coordinator position and our web designer And unfortunately, they're so good at what they do, they got more work and they can't continue on with us. So they're getting us through like 90 days. So we basically have to have. So I'm going to open it up to the commission. Just because it's like all Brady Bunch style, and I know Paul's got a meeting, I'm going to start with Paul and try to go around the room and see what everybody's thoughts are so we can get these work moving. So, Paul, got any ideas?
Can I go later in this?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Who wants to go next? Anybody? Steve.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I've got a lot of background noise. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, I don't know if I've got any ideas, but I think the one thing that would be great to try to come up with a solution to and avoid the problem going forward is the fact that when we have, we worked really hard to get these building blocks in place over the past couple of years. We brought on Slate, which was, I think, a very, very good move. We kind of right-sized them over time, and they're still working for us. We got Travis on the team, and he's done well. Bullfinch added yet another layer of very good work and good value add. And then when we were able to get Katie on board as a promotions commission, I felt like we kind of had the right mix between the promotions and these individuals and companies that we really position ourselves well. So you can't avoid it, the attrition we're having, unfortunately. I feel very bad. I understand Katie's reasons for leaving, and no one can blame her, but it is very disappointing that we lost her so early in her tenure. So, and I take responsibility for that because I was a big advocate for her, but nevertheless, she's doing the smart things for herself. I guess the solution, I don't know how we can bulletproof it, but we really should try. You know, we have to continue to strive for consistency, because if we keep overhauling things and changing it and starting from square one, we're going to lose momentum. So the good news is we've got Slate, we've got Volts Media still out there, and to the degree we can pull that together and pull it together with what the strategy is going forward, hopefully we won't miss a beat. But obviously we don't have those feet on the ground that we were hoping to have with Katie. So
It is this is a very unique position that we are trying to fill. And I think one of the things that we kind of need a consensus on today is if we want to continue in this trajectory with the 4 components that currently exist, or if we should look at basically a new vision for how marketing should go. I'm going to continue to let the other commission members speak. Jan, you're right below me in my squares, so take it away.
I don't have any new ideas. I just have the same old ideas. I think might be time to look at, I don't want to insinuate that somebody's not professional, but a more complete package, a professional company that will be more proactive, I guess, and not just reactive to what people post, but we'll go out and find the content and create the content. And so that would be all.
Okay. It's Justin.
I would probably echo that sentiment. I think we're kind of, well, for the short term, I think we just kind of have to stop the bleeding here and maybe figure out with the tools that we have with Slate and Travis, maybe how to delegate what we need in the short term to those guys, just to make sure that we can shore things up in our 90 days, because it might take a longer period to find a new solution. But I would also say that that new solution probably is going to take money, I would imagine. In order to not have this situation happen again where we find good people and they leave because we can't afford to pay them, we need to come up with a structure that allows us to, one, go out and identify these people, and two, to pay them and retain them for the long term, to provide that structure. And it would be nice to get some company or someone who could probably wear all those hats that are required of this position. But I think that we can probably parse that down later. But I think at this point, we have to look at our budget and our finances and kind of work from that standpoint.
So the budget is a really good segue, but I do want to give Kevin and Mary a chance to chime in before we talk about the financial side. So in no particular order, Kevin.
Paul, if you're ready, I know you're on a hard stop, so do you want to go right now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, I can see it moving. Okay. No, I'd like to echo what Justin said. I think that whatever we decide to do, and if we do build a position in there, we're going to need to pay well enough and make the position fruitful enough for the employee that they don't have to go off again. And then also so that we can get people that have real on the ground experience with directing an event and marketing campaign for us, rather than that it has all around, who has a portfolio built already. And that's going to be challenging to us with our current financial situation. Otherwise, we're going to have to just look into another local company that can pay attention, like Jan said, to creating content, to building a solid marketing plan that they can present to us at interview, frankly, and then moving forward with that plan as we go. I think that I like the idea of having them make an event. That was great because it showed their consistency and their thoroughness with it. But I also think they can add a marketing plan to that. And then that, especially for that event, and that shows exactly how they'll run forward with coordinating for us. So there's my opinion. And what the realities of that are.
I'm muted. Hi. Money. And what the biggest challenge we've had with this position in the time that I've been on the commission is we are not a wealthy town, nor are we a wealthy commission. So we do not have infinite resources to pull in what, the talent you see in some of the larger towns. We look at towns like Estes and towns like Breckenridge and towns that have these incredible, not just one person, but full-time tourism bureaus, teams. When this proposal came about, two things popped into my mind. The first one was the potential of maybe establishing like a paid chamber. Now the chamber obviously has there's pitfalls. One is that people don't pay their dues. It's not always possible for everyone to be involved. I looked at the Idaho Springs Chamber kind of as and Phyllis, who is I think, and Cass, you probably know better than I do. Is she the only person in that group?
Oh, she is the president right now.
She's the president of the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
And does the Idaho Springs Chamber, because I tried to find this out and I wasn't able to get a lot of great information. Do they have paid people on staff, or are they a volunteer organization, or are they promotion?
So they, their director just resigned, so they're in the same position.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good model. Mm-hmm. So they did have a paid director though.
They did. It was very minimal, but yes, they did have a paid director. And I'm sure a lot of you know, that's Brandy that worked with Steve Skolaski, not Steve Skolaski, the other one, the tax company there in Idaho Springs, Skolaski Rogers. Sorry. Yeah, but so are all of you familiar with Brandy? Okay, but yeah, so she did very minimal things for them, like, you know, running their social media, running their website, running, you know, creating director's reports and minutes and things, and organizing special, like, little bake-off events and things. And I think they did like a scavenger hunt. So, but nothing too crazy. But she will be missed, because she definitely was kind of the glue that held them together for a couple years. I think she was there for maybe 3 or 4 years. So.
And then and the rest of the chamber is all volunteers.
Correct.
So that's basically us. So then the other thing that kind of popped into my mind, and I would like Kent to, I think he can hear, was that we take all of these resources and pull them together, and then see if the town could find slightly additional more financial resources, if it's possible, and try and
Ken's
translate.
on the phone right now. Sorry,
Oh,
Jen.
thank you for telling me that.
Just sure.
I won't get into a ton of detail, but basically to see if we could potentially get a full-time person out of all of these resources. And then that full-time person potentially, because that's one of the pitfalls we've had with this position, and having interviewed for it for 3 times, I've done the interviews for the position. And unfortunately, because it's part-time, we really limit our job pool and the candidates that come forward, because part-time doesn't appeal to everybody, rightfully so. So if we could potentially translate the resources from Slate, from Katie, from Kyle, and down the road, potentially, if we, you know, I wouldn't want to take away Travis at this time, because he's got a really important role for us. But if all of those resources were pooled together into one full-time individual, and then in 2022, the goal of a part-time individual with maybe an increase in our budget through whatever means come about, that would be kind of my long-term pie in the sky goal. So, but I don't know how achievable that is, because all of that costs money. So Kent, how much money do we have for this position? Make a full-time position. Do we have the resources?
Well, what we would have to do is make a proposal to the Board of Selectmen to how that would come about. I think with the combination of the part-time positions that you said, there would be some possibility, but I think the better possibility is to come with a proposal requesting some addition, because our sales tax has been increasing, and I think there is a possibility to make a request, because our sales tax ended up higher than 2019 in 2020, which was surprising. And with the new hotel and the couple other new businesses occurring, there's going to be additional sales tax, and I think a better stability of sales tax. But you know, when I gave you the figures at the last meeting, if we were to do a lodging tax proposal at some point, and that was without the new hotel, it was 30,000 that would be generated with 1% lodging tax. To me, that can be done through the sales tax, just dedicating a certain portion to promotions or to certain type of activities within promotions. I think that could be a proposal that could be brought forward, especially in the interim before we would have a dedicated revenue source for promotions to occur. Am I talking too long, Amanda? Sorry.
No, I was apologizing for the conundrum that occurred in my kitchen. I just had a ladder fall over, and it was very loud. So I apologize. That was not me I was apologizing for the loud noise that interrupted you.
No.
Okay. So if we, and this is, I'm coming back to the commission, we need to decide today if we need to put out a new RFP right now, honestly, for the web design and for the marketing, or if we want to try and pursue this route, because we are running out of time and the RFPs will probably take 30 days. There are a couple local
Yeah.
companies.
It'll take more than that. Yeah.
I guess they will. There's a couple local companies that I know have expressed interest in possibly taking over the web hosting. That's obviously going to divert the funds that we have available to a full-time person, but it will become emergent that our website is maintained with content. So we need to kind of weigh this out.
And I mentioned earlier, Amanda, as far as having one person handle all these activities, to me, it's a skill set that would be very difficult to find in one person. As far as web, social media, promotions, and a chamber type person.
Cass, are you happy in your job right now?
So,
What do you say?
I was like, Cass, are you happy in your job right now? I'm joking.
Well, and I think that, I mean, it would be interesting to look at like some internships, or looking at, bringing on a couple of kids out of the high school that want to do tourism or promotions or marketing. And, to bring somebody on like that would be a worthwhile entertainment too, because they're so savvy, they're so tech savvy. And you guys are such a great board, and you have so many different things that you could help instill in those people. But I will say, I mean, I think that, looking at what you guys are talking about, I mean, I think an employee would be awesome. And I'm still just chomping at the bit to be able to work with somebody directly from your organization. And to kind of tie arms and not cross, promote things to where, we're increasing Google AdWords prices on each other's ends, and we're not, competing with each other. And, and I feel like if you had a strong, person, I was so excited about Katie. I couldn't believe from one meeting to the next, the rug came out from under, because I was really pumped. She's such good vibrancy and a good spirit, and she's perfect. So, if there's another Katie out there, I think, somebody like that would just be phenomenal, especially when you start talking about our community and how they operate, and just having somebody on staff that, can go door to door and really, work with the business owners and those that haven't been eager to participate, and really get them on board. And I don't know, I think there's a lot of value in that.
It is super important that the relationship with the county tourism is there. The foundation is, we are a small county. We're a county that can definitely support each other, and there's no reason that our visitor base can't enjoy every town the county has to offer without it being a positive experience. And I think we definitely have an opportunity within this county to build that up. So we appreciate the support that we get from Clear Creek Tourism. So I guess, again, because this is a very hard problem to solve in an hour and a half, but I'm really determined to come out of here with some action points. Kent, if we put out RFPs for multiple things, do we have to accept the RFPs?
No, it can be part of the conversations with whoever responds to the RFP, is that this may change. So, no.
So how would you guys feel if we put out an RFP for the web handling, the web content, at the rate that Kyle is currently being paid, and then in the meantime, worked on a proposal for the Board of Selectmen to potentially, that we could put forth at the next meeting, to potentially ask for enough resources for one full-time position? And maybe, I mean, if those resources exist, that's kind of my big question. And if the Board of Selectmen, then we could start the process of interviewing a new town employee. But if we could translate that from full-time to part-time, is that possible or is that not possible? Because those are the two big components. Is we have the website is so good right now, and we all know where the website was. The website was rough for a long time. And now the website's really awesome. And so we don't want to lose momentum on the website. And I talked to Kyle, and a lot of what Kyle does right now is he is just generating content. He generates the blogs that get searched in the AdWords that Cass was talking about. He updates the business listings for new businesses. He does the business spotlight. He updates the photos. So it's just content. But he spends a ton of time generating that content. So we need to keep that momentum up. And I don't think we have a lot of time left on him to do that. So if we focused on that aspect and then try to find the resources for this full-time person, if that's possible, how would you guys feel about that? And yes, Paul, I see you're in the chat. Paul commented, strong volunteer coordination is important in order to help with the event side of the position. And I don't think our days of setting up barricades are behind us just yet. I think we're all going to have a long summer of really backing up this position, but hopefully we have somebody to do that in some capacity. So what are your thoughts? I just really want you guys I want this to be positive and action oriented. So
I personally think that we should pursue a person and at a good rate. And I think that while it seems that we're looking for a unicorn, those things, all the things we're looking for tie together. And if we get a good person who can bring in, say, students from the school to help them with generation of content and generation of IT for all of the IT issues with, web design, web development and all that. Young people are great at that. And that's why I brought up the volunteer coordination portion of it, because if they're a person who naturally enlists other people to do things to help them, we can get all of it done with a person. And I think that putting it off by just getting a web developer at the moment or getting another company at the moment and not actually doing the search while we have fewer than 90 days is going to thwart our efforts. And I do think those people exist. You find them in every manager of every restaurant and every organization that you have to put on every hat. And it's part of the whole event and marketing umbrella. I even once was in charge of all of the FF&E for a place, all of their punch lists. I supported the two leads in the company as their executive assistant, but I was also had a $2 million marketing budget. I'm not qualified at this point, but we were able to do all of it. And part of that meant pulling in people with me to take care of the team that were experts in that. And so if we can find a person who's willing to do that and a good delegator, then I think that we're looking forward instead of cutting ourselves off immediately by saying, oh, let's get another company. So that's where I am.
Cass just typed into the chat. Mary, I'm sorry. Let me just read this really fast, but I do want to hear. Perhaps an intern from Rocky Mountain Art College or CSU CU who's focused on tourism, hospitality, and marketing. So absolutely, that's good thoughts. Mary, please go ahead.
As your Board of Selectmen representative, I will support whichever way you want to go. However, my personal opinion on this is, I know, and I've only been involved with this particular commission for the last few months, but definitely active in different events and everything. I think it's about time that Georgetown puts their big boy pants on and we pursue a full-time person to coordinate all of these comments that are coming up and to do the job. And, obviously we've got a lot of money in different line items with BPC that we can divert to that position. This town has grown in the activities by all of these smaller entities and different organizations creating different events, and we've said for years that it would be nice to have that coordination of all. I think an intern is great, but you have to have that full-time person who the intern then reports to. And so in that way, I think this position and the manpower can grow in that, but we need to move forward. And, you've seen it yourself in the last couple of years of how many people you have interviewed for this position, and thinking that you've got success each time, and here we are again. So, and you just had a round within the last couple of months. So I think what your pool is to maintain this. You're not going to find that. There are other organizations around, and Breckenridge Heritage Alliance comes to mind as one of them. Now, granted, they have 3 people on board. Breck is not Georgetown. Georgetown is not Breck, but they do every facet of what we're looking for that we have all these other organizations do. Maybe our priority is going to be event coordinator, and then media is going to come in a little bit, after that. I think we can find somebody who can do this, but we've got to suck it up and be that full-time position. And I think Kent is going to find, and town staff is going to find, that there's going to be other aspects of some of the general business piece that other staff members do that would fall more into place with this position. So that's my 2 cents.
Really good points. If we could somehow translate this person into helping support business license, the tasks that Jen has to handle, and the setting up and hosting of these meetings and doing our minutes, even, I don't know. I mean, it feels like there's probably more than enough work for a full-time position if we can acquire the revenue to support the position. Off the math, I did very rough math. And we have about 50,000 total between all 4 components as they exist currently. Now, again, I don't think it's the right time to do anything with Travis's position, and Travis has done a very good job. So I don't want anyone to come away from this meeting thinking I'm saying get rid of Travis, because that's not what I'm saying at all. Bullfinch was about $1,000 a month for the web content and hosting. We know what we were paying Katie, and then we know what Slate was getting. We don't have anything renewed with Slate. We did, when Kyle went out and got quotes rather back in October, November for different marketing companies. Those companies were coming in the vicinity of $4,000 to $10,000 a month. And what we don't get from them is the person who is going to set up the barricades and who's going to make sure all the vendors show up to Strauss Park. So I think that if we can bring this in-house, that's certainly, am I hearing from the commission that would be our number 1 goal, is a full-time person? Is there thumbs ups or verbals, or I see most? Jan, what are your thoughts?
That's fine. I don't have any more thoughts.
Okay. And I think I saw everybody else is good. Kevin, you were nodding before your video went away. So.
Okay, I'm back.
Good with us trying to pursue a full-time person with Board of Selectmen, number 1.
I agree with all the comments that have been made, all the observations. I had a few additional thoughts outside of what's been said. These are more macro thoughts, but ever since we learned that we were losing Katie, I thought about the bigger picture here. And I think there are some things we need to remind ourselves of as we have discussions. And one thing is, we need to talk about the business community in a more cohesive way. We always separate out 6th Street, and we need to break ourselves of that habit of just referring to 6th Street. It's the historic commercial district. That way it encompasses some of those businesses that are off the strip a little bit. I think we tend to not bring into the conversation businesses along Argentine, which is also commercial. And then we talk about Amanda, what's the name of your area? The Gateway Commercial District?
Some people call it the roundabout area. Some people call it the Gateway Commercial District.
Yeah, I think it's Gateway officially. But I think we need to think of it as like a barbell or a dumbbell. It has two ends and a middle. And so when we talk about the business district, we should be thinking all of these locations. And there are some far-flung ones like the B&B that's behind the Catholic Church. So they're mixed into the community. So I think we need to, in our thinking, stop segregating these into different communities and think of it as one cohesive whole and as an economic driver for the whole town. The other thing I think we need to do is work more closely with Kent in his different divisions like Road and Bridge, and really address safety issues like tripping hazards with sidewalks and curbs, missing sidewalks that need to be built, street lamps that need paint and bulbs. A very, very big important thing is safety for people, and that's not going to go away. So even if we get COVID behind us, there are other safety issues. So I think we need to think about safety. We need to think about our appearance, and we need to think of the community as a larger concept, not these little segregated groups. So those are my thoughts.
Those are very valid points. And that's something that we as a commission have worked really hard to try and get through. And I think that that's something that we need to continue to drive, because it is really important. And it's not, we are one town. We're not even a big town. We're a cute town. And so,
so many things that all of you have talked about. I see the team players are here. They're present. I see Kent, I see Cass, and then I see the commission. The only vacancy is really this position. The rest of the team is here, and we need to call on each other more, work with each other more, support each other more, maybe even more accountability. And so, it's a strong group, but I think we need to step up our game even more. And I know we do it all the time, but we need to keep doing it.
Well, go ahead, Mary.
I want to throw in one more thing, and this is, Kevin, you kind of planted the seed for this. And I don't know if this is really the proper time, but it's food for thought. And I think it's valid food for thought. For the last 61 years, Historic Georgetown has put on Christmas market. And at our last board meeting on Saturday, which I am a board member of, we were discussing that we would like to enhance the partnership or build on that partnership for Christmas market with the town and events. It seems to be a logical partnership that particular event has more town involvement than just HGI coming to business promotions in the fall and saying, gee, can you give us a couple $1,000s and pay for the porta potties that everybody uses? There needs to be that partnership in the planning. And, again, that falls with the event coordinator for the town that could take that on and bring that to even more than what it is, keeping in mind all the traditions where that Christmas market has established over the last several decades. So I just want you to know that HGI is open to those conversations with the town event coordinator. And I would think that other organizations who, have some big events, and Paul, I'm going to throw Bighorn Sheep in just because it's a thought that comes to my head. I know there's a lot of overlap between, Bighorn and BPC, but so there's so many more opportunities where we can grow and bring in more money and fund our events person. So I just kind of wanted to plant that seed. I don't know if it'll happen this year, depending on where we go as a town with the position, but I think the full-time person could lend itself to embracing more of those and having better coordination.
Awesome. No, and there's more than enough work for a full-time person. It sounds like if we were talking about handling Christmas market, and I will let Steve talk before I bring up the other festival that comes to mind, which is Bighorn Sheep. But Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick, just to piggyback on everything that was just said. When I get a call early Monday morning from the hotel asking about how late I'm open, can I provide flyers to the hotel for the brewery because they are starting to book up full on the weekends. With the current restrictions, even Cabin Creek Brewery can only do so much to accommodate people checking in and wanting to get a quick bite to eat. You know, the boundaries go beyond Gateway, historic Georgetown, and everything, and the lake and everything in between. It really requires a cohesive strategy for the entire town. I'm extending my hours this weekend as a test just to see what happens when the hotel fills up and when their check-in staff would give them a flyer. And it's kind of almost, for me, it's a piece of pizza and a beer, and the hotel saying anything. A piece of pizza and beer would be good because everyone else, whoever may be open, is full. And these poor people are just checking in. They want to get a quick bite to eat, and then they come downtown, and we are making progress. We've got the Sweet Easy just opened up. What a phenomenal place on the weekends. The building, informally Troy, is hopefully will open soon. I'll hopefully open as soon as I can. But honestly, the importance of what we're talking about and getting someone in place, the damage could potentially already being done, not because of anyone's fault, but just because of the current condition of the town. And I've been here for, almost 4 years in Georgetown. This is February. And are you kidding me? Someone's coming to me in February and saying, can you stay open longer? I got all these people that want something to eat. And we as a commission for 3 years have been racking our brains trying to figure out how to drive business, during the cold winter months. What drives business, what drives business is businesses. And we're doing, in my opinion, a great job of attracting new businesses to town. We just need to keep the promotions effort, if you will, very focused so that no one feels like they're being left out in the sidelines, whether you're a business or whether you're someone trying to figure out what the heck to do in Georgetown at 8:00 at night on a Friday or a Saturday, because the town may be closed, but you just checked in the hotel and you'd like to do something.
We have been consistently running a wait every night at dinner since like the beginning of February. Last Friday and Saturday, we ran an hour and a half for tables. And that's not our capacity. Our capacity doesn't help the cause. I'd have a few more tables, but it was just volume. So it's a really good problem to have. And again, if we can divert some of that revenue, that sales tax, towards this cause, it will pay for itself. And there is obviously a longer conversation to be had about the potential of another revenue source for us, but we'll have to have that at a later time. So go ahead, Jim.
And this is a little off topic, I'm sorry, but is there any incentive or any help that the town can give to get Lucha back? I mean, the Red Ram is so iconic, and it's Georgetown. People have come to the Red Ram for generations. Is there any pressure, help, encouragement that the
That's
town?
with their insurance company. I can contact their insurance company, but that's between the insurance and the rebuild of the building.
Because that's a
And-
huge hole in downtown as far as nightlife and the one more quick thought, just piggyback on what Steve said. You know, for 4 years that I've been coming to these meetings, our goal and our hope is to show the business owners that we are making good with their money that they pay for business license and the portion that we use of that. And so we really need community buy-in to support our efforts. And if we sent out a survey to business owners, I'm not sure how we would rate, just based on comments that I've gotten. So whatever we can do, and like Kevin said, that, you know, all those things that you mentioned, Kevin, have been, I can go back and look at my notes. They've been in there for 4 years now. Those are all important things. We've got to keep hammering, but it's time to do them. It's time to, like Mary said, put our big boy pants on and do it. However, we need to do it. Let's, you know, find the money. Let's hire the people. Let's do it. Somehow we got to find a way.
Could not agree more, Jan. I will say on the subject of Lucha, before I forget, I had a citizen come to me and ask that if there was a possibility we could paint the plywood out front, if that would be allowed, to make it look less like
I've seen that.
it does. That's just, I don't know if that's something, like, just to make it look a little nicer for town. I don't know if that's something we can do or not. I'm doing my due diligence. I'm throwing it out. I'm really glad you reminded me of that, Jan. So thank you.
I'm from Detroit, and they used to take all the abandoned buildings when they used to host things like the Super Bowl, and they used to paint the windows and put boards up and paint the boards and make it look like something's going on there. So that's a great idea.
Yeah, if we could, I mean, I know it's, there is obviously, this is a bigger, unfortunately, issue, I think, for them. And I know the people who own Lucha would love to be doing something right now, but I think that they have to deal with whatever they have to deal with. But if we could paint that, that would be cool. I did see Paul raised his hand.
Sure. And Cass, to answer your question about an historic preservation grant, I do know that the trust has offered their assistance to the owners of the building to house that grant if they decided to pursue it. There's been no action on that. So I think they're going in a different direction. They do require a 50% match in their competitive grants. And so that's exactly what we did over at Neisel and Anderson, which is because it's a fascinating building situation. And as far as the painting, we've seen it in large cities. I think that's brilliant, because one of the things that we're addressing is the one time I had a conversation with somebody, and I know this has been going on for years, and we were talking about the difference between rustic and shoddy looking and downtrodden. And sometimes we do some beautification, but it's not to the level. And so although this group isn't the beautification group, we can add pressure. That's the only way we can do it. And I think sometimes with townspeople, we all get to where we don't know which commission is in charge of what. And so we'll say, I'm a business owner, and why isn't promotions doing this for me? And we don't realize that, well, that's actually not us. That's this other group. But we could, offer our help and stuff. And I want to say, as far as the position goes, I have 2 things that I'm working on right now. One of them is Sheep Festival. We usually get started now. And the other is Mountain Jams. I have my second meeting coming up soon. And I just lost the person that was going to help with town. And it was going to be the first time I had a town person help me. So now that assistance, where the town could have buy-in and this commission could have more buy-in than just, we'll write you a check, is gone. And so the faster we can do that, the better. But at that position already, we were being disingenuous in offering it at 20 hours because it already was almost a full-time job to do it right. And so I just want to press that if we're going to go to the select people, that we need to make clear how urgent it is.
No, I agree 100%. And Kent's got to go. So Kent, just so you're clear, we're going to come ask for money. I think that's the mission of today's meeting is we're coming for money. Have a great meeting. Thank you for joining us this morning. Sorry to make you late. All right. So we're going to ask for money and we're going to put out an RFP for the web. Is there anything that in it, we don't have to do this on the phone because I know everyone's pushing meetings and it's a funky day for us. If there's anything that you guys are dying to see in this candidate or any priorities that you feel have been missed, we can either voice those now or you guys can email them to me directly. I will put together a job description for the Board of Selectmen. We have 13 days until their next meeting. Go ahead, Kevin.
Just a thought.
Absolutely.
I think we need to cast a wider net than just our own community. I hate to say that because I'd rather provide a job in this community, but unless the reason I say that is the hotel's bookkeeper lives in Vermont. Okay, she doesn't even live in the state, and she does a great job for us. However, we feed her all the information. So, you know, a webmaster can live anywhere. My only concern is, can they get the content if they don't live here, if they live in Vermont? But maybe somebody's creative enough to find content remotely. I don't know. But if we keep coming up with this small pool of people, because we're only looking in a small area, I think that there's a direct relationship to that result. So if we cast a wider net, maybe we will find a person. And I also say that because I was recruited from out of state to come here. You know, I came all the way from Georgia. And so there is talent out there. If it's not in our own community, maybe it's somebody who had moved to this community. I did.
That's awesome. Go ahead, Cass.
I was going to say something very similar. I was going to say, in an age of Zoom and digital meetings and working remotely, that you could have almost any candidate in the world right now. You know, you could look at these colleges, you know, these design colleges raised right here in Colorado, and look at those in the graduate program, you know, or look at those that are looking for a job, you know, that are finishing right now, that are graduating in May, that need a job. You can look at, you know, just, I mean, there's so many different ways to connect with the creatives, and actually get somebody that works remotely, and then have that as part of your job description, where they'll be allowed to work remotely. They'll be required 40 hours a week to split it in between, you know, the different things that they're doing, but then that they are required to have, you know, boots on the ground presence for your events, that they are required to make quarterly appearances to your business owners, or, you know, have some in-person stuff where you require them to, but have like a hybrid to where, like Kevin's saying, where you get a bigger audience of, you know, flatlanders like myself, as Paul calls me, you know, that, because I don't reside in the county, and I'm another one of them that, you know, they picked up, and I bring that kind of that unique edge too, where since I'm not in the county, I have an outward perspective and an inward perspective. So I think it could be valuable to consider that. So I just echo Kevin's sentiment. So you guys, this is awesome. And I think it's exciting if you look at it in a way to find the best candidate. You know, I think it'd be great. Let me know how I can help. I'll help push it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Justin, go ahead.
Yeah, just to add on to the widening the net, I just was curious, what should we just rename this position? It seems like event coordinator is far outgrown, and I was just curious to see what the thoughts were. You know, like, should it be like a director of marketing and tourism, as we put that out there? How do we just best describe this position?
That's a really great point. I do believe that the event coordinator or promotions coordinator position is outgrown. And again, I believe it's cursed and shan't never be filled again, as I've interviewed for it 3 times now. Cass, your official job title is director of marketing and tourism?
Director. Yep. Yep. And then my task list just keeps growing and there's no end, and that's fine. And, so I think director would be awesome. Director of Georgetown Promotions, I think would be more desirable title. And you may be able to get, like I say, a graduate coming out in tourism or hospitality or marketing, or, somebody that wants that title on their resume. I think that would be more value in that for sure.
And I think one of the things too, Kevin, I'm not forgetting about you, but just to share this quick thought, we've touched a couple times on education. We have not had an education component in this position up till now. We've never required any type of education or experience equivalent. So is that something that we should maybe turn our attention to? Kevin, and just hold that thought for me. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry.
One concern I have about education is I know so many people with degrees and mountains of debt they'll never get out from under. And so if we get somebody with a degree, the compensation is not going to help them solve their debt. So I think that's going to keep us away from qualified people. So I would say nix the education. It's about a portfolio. Let them interview with a portfolio and see what they're capable of. The other thing is to sweeten the pot, and this is a question for Kent, can a dedicated office space be created in the upstairs of Town Hall? I know that they have some rooms up there or a room up there. Every time I've been up there, it's just boxes stacked up against the window. If that could be made into a nice office to give that person an identity, a place to operate out of, if they end up coming to the community, it just sort of depends, but we need to ask that question of Kent.
That's a good question. Jen, do you know anything about, I saw you unmute. What is this?
I mean, we have a little room. I'll ask him and see what he says. The room's pretty small, but maybe we've thought about that before.
I'd suggest getting them a laptop too. That's your property, so that if anything were to happen, you have a laptop with all your information on it.
Okay.
Since you're going to ask for money.
I'm just gonna go and be like, hi, Town of Georgetown, we would like $1 million, please. Help us? They probably won't. Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, I concur with Kevin, and I just want to say that I feel strongly about education requirements, and formal schooling does not necessarily indicate education.
That's true.
Nor does the lack of schooling indicate education.
That's true.
It indicates that you paid for college. That's all it indicates to me. It can be great if people take advantage of it, but there are a lot of people who get a lot of degrees and don't take advantage of it and pass tests and party well. So I just want to say that there are tons of people out there who don't have a formal education who run very good things. I also want to say that I don't have a degree. Just so everybody knows here, I don't have a degree, and Kevin doesn't either. But we worked very hard in our careers to make something happen. And we also studied very hard privately to make sure that we're keeping up with what's going on. And sometimes what that does is it makes people more motivated to study because they don't think they just got it when they got out of school. So I have a strong, anyway, sorry about that. I just don't want, I think that if we look at, even if they don't have the full portfolio, but they have the energy level and they have the ability to do to show us that they can do the job correctly in the interview process, I think that we might be able to get somebody good. But what we might find, there's a lot of talk about people just getting out of school. I'm not against people with educations, by the way. I think it's great. We might find that we're getting somebody mid-career or late career with a director title who is willing to make a change in their lives or has been in one industry that might not be directly related to what they're doing, but they may find that they do all the components of the job anyway in what they're doing. And that's why I brought up the restaurant person, the manager, because you find you're doing your website and you're all that. If we're open to that and we're looking for component fit instead of specific, that may shift someone's world because somebody may want to get out of what they're stuck in and look to be a leader. And they'll do it for less money than someone elsewhere might do. Like you're getting somebody who's already looking at their career, kid's going to put in 2 years. And I'm not saying not, but I require from people like Alicia, I asked her to give me 2 years because I knew that she was a hot shot and she was going to go somewhere. And you might get somebody who's mid-career or looking for a career shift who will build something out of it for the rest of their lives. So that being open to that and what they're doing to me is very important. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
No, and that's a very valid point. I don't have a degree either, neither does my husband. So I certainly recognize that education is not the end all be all. I brought it up because it was coming up a lot. But I don't think we need to pigeonhole ourselves with that. There's a lot of really good information here to start the building blocks of this process. And again, this is hinging on the hope that it's even feasible within the town's budget. I would hope it is. Another thought, just to plant a seed, is obviously the lodging tax has come up frequently as a funding or revenue source for us. It's not happening this year. It's not possible. But if that was something that we were to push into a fruition and another election cycle, my hope would be that we could maybe dedicate a big portion of that revenue, like say 30%, to direct marketing for lodging to help incentivize that process so that the hotels didn't feel like they were just being sucker punched. It wasn't a great time to do it this year, and we respect that, but there might not be other revenue sources for us. So I think it is going to come up again. So I do think we need to strategize on a way to make that seem, and rightfully so, less of a hurt for lodging. And so that was just kind of a thought, and we have a little time to get ourselves organized on that front. So just Steve, thank you for your time. We appreciate you. I know this was a weird special meeting day, and I'm sorry I had to push the last one, but I didn't realize how many members of the commission. And sometimes I hide the chat, guys. I left it on today because there wasn't too many of us on. But if I hide the chat and I don't see something, like if we're saying you guys can't be there, I felt really bad. I missed 2 people that typed in the chat that said I can't come, and it was pointed out to me afterwards by another commission member. So I apologize. I wasn't trying to be neglectful. I just hide it if there's a whole mess of us so I can see everybody's faces. Today I have it on. Thank you for the link, Cass. If you guys didn't notice in the chat, there's a link about career services for graduates, Rocky Mountain Academy of Art and Design, I'm guessing. Okay. And then I saw Paul also said that the town could rent a desk at the workspace. And so we have a lot of good things to go off of. So what I am going to do with all of this amazing information is start a new job description that I will go talk to Mary and ask her about the money, because that's really important that she's looped into what our resources are and what the Board of Selectmen is able to potentially provide. If anyone has anything major on the job description, just text me or shoot me an email. If there's something that you feel like, I'm hearing, obviously communication pathway is really important. We need an ambassador. We need somebody that we can really get a buy-in from businesses, because that is such a bummer that we're in this position. But the people that are probably not impressed with us, I can't say that we've given them a ton of results. So let's find a way to get some results. And then from there, hopefully we can build this up. And then the second piece is that we will do an immediate RFP for web hosting services, and maybe we'll make that contract month to month. Might not get us a great set of immediate resources, but it would be a bandage on the potential of the website not losing its momentum. Does everyone feel good about that path forward?
Can I make one point just real quickly? Absolutely. Can we please stop saying, and I'm not trying to come for anybody, but can we please stop saying business owners? Can we just start doing that? Because a lot of businesses are operated by managers and directors, and business owners is an old habit from 6th Street. And I just think that it's exclusionary. I don't think it's intended.
You got it. And I will work on that's because there are a lot of people that are present and very bought in that are not business owners. So that's point taken.
Just a quick question about your web stuff. Are you looking for somebody just to like help like ensure its operation, or somebody that's doing the content?
Content.
Okay.
Both will continue. I should double check this, but I believe that Bullfinch will manage the domain and hosting still, but that's a very easy thing for him to do. That's just something that I don't know, by magic or fiber optic voodoo figures out how to handle. So I'm clearly very tech savvy, as we can tell. Awesome. So he's going to continue that. He does all the content management currently with, like I was saying, he does like a couple blogs a month. He updates the seasonal photos. He updates the events and puts up the different things. So like right now, a lot of the content is lake ice racing.
Mm-hmm.
He's starting to work on content with the train and stuff. So yeah.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Absolutely. What else does anyone have today?
I have one thing. I was thinking the Board of Selectmen were talking about there might be a possibility for the lodging tax to go on the November county coordinated election, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
So that would be in November. And then we'd have to have things ready, I think, to go in August, right, Mary?
Yeah, that was the brief discussion we had at not last night's meeting, but the meeting prior to that.
If the law
gives us time to talk about that and see where this piece comes up. And I think that's a good add-on to when we approach with a request for more money, to throw that out there that, you know, this is a possibility for more funding. So
if we I think obviously because we keep coming up with this is kind of and from conversations I've had with Kent, because there's not a great amount of certainty over how much revenue can be diverted from sales tax right now for this particular purpose. Maybe what the best course of action would be to see what happens when we have a full month of like January, February with the new hotel, and kind of look and see if there was an increase in the existing lodging tax, and that would give us to make some decisions on what we should do and how, and we should also make sure that all the hotels are aware of what's happening. And I know that the last time I think everybody was, but we need to make sure that we can get some actual concrete numbers together. But so if November, Jen, we'd have to have it done by, you said August?
Yeah. They have to pass an ordinance and everything. So, I mean, we can look at the exact timeline, but I know that was being talked about. So as a ballpark, yeah.
Cool, thank you. I appreciate that. And I will follow up with Kent and Mary about the other revenue options as well. So we're not just see if there's anything else that we can divert.
And one more thing real quick. Going way back with Slate from when Natalie left the position, Liz with Slate had taught me how to just fill in simple things on the website. I don't know if we can still do that, I guess, just as a temporary thing to do, maybe train one of you guys to be able to do it or something. I don't know since Kyle took it over and changed it, if that's still possible, but to just keep up like certain events that are happening. So just while you're looking for somebody.
No, absolutely. That's
that out there.
No, when I started, yeah, and thank you, Jen, for doing that. I know that was not, that was a lot of work at the time. And when I started on the commission, Anne Marie actually did the website as a volunteer. And that's when we had, I forget who it was, but she like helped do all the content. And then that's when, we brought in Natalie, and then we brought in Kyle. So
did Kevin do a lot of it too for a while? No? Kevin's like, no.
Kevin just did social media. He just did social media.
Oh.
So, So yeah, if it comes to that, then, we will figure it out. I don't think that Kyle, what I suspect, and I'm not trying to speak for Kyle, but we've talked about this pretty extensively. They gave us the 90 days, which puts us through basically till the end of March. They don't want to leave the commission. They want to stay on the commission. Their goal is really to transition out of all of those roles. But I think that if it was very simple things, and maybe if we were generating the content, like if we all took a turn writing a blog or something, that he would continue to put that up for us. And so if there was something that somebody was really passionate about and wanted to like write a brief blog, I think they're maybe 1,200 words. They're not very long. And so he would do that for us if we needed him to, but but he's going to get away from the actual nitty gritty of, I think he told me, if I recall, he's spending somewhere in the vicinity of like 15 to 24 hours a month on content for us. And so he's trying to move away from that. And I could be misstating those hours, but because I was dealing with Katie's hours and his hours, but it's, when you're trying to run a business the way he is and as busy as he is, it's a big undertaking. So, we could bandage it, but hopefully we don't have to. Anyone have anything else? Paul's giving me a funny look.
I'm just giggling because I'm looking at Mary and she looks like a made-for-TV movie of an executive, like from the 80s or something, because she's got the big power window behind her with the fabulous view.
Excellent panorama.
That's all. I'm sorry. It had nothing to do with the reality.
Yes.
I'm excited about this move. I think that it's way past due.
It's fine. Let's get it done. And let's, as Mary and Jan so eloquently stated, let's put our big boy pants on, Georgetown, and figure this out. And I think ultimately, if we can show that this is going to generate more revenue for town, because we will have people coming to town who will be spending their money, that is a good and not just a compelling reason, but a really good reason to do this. So, okay.
Big person pants, dress, stockings, whatever you choose.
Anything.
Sorry. Okay, I'm punchy. Sorry. Very sorry.
So I'll add one more thing. As far as like, I'm going to send you and Mary a copy of our job description, and I'm debating whether I'm going to send you a copy of my contract. But a contract is an interesting thing that you guys might put in place because it would protect you. The first year was a 1-year contract, and then I had a review, and then it was renewed for a 3-year to give me more stability and not just a year-to-year basis. But if you sign a contract, at least then you would have a 30-day notice, when they're vacating their position, and the requirements there that would follow that, for you and for them.
Don't worry about sending us your contract right now. I think
I'll just send you job description
first, and then I'm going to start working on that, and I will get that out to the commission. My goal will be to get it to you guys, the one that we write for review and edit from you guys no later than Tuesday of next week, which will give us till Thursday to get it into Jen so it could get on the agenda. Right, Jen, is that Thursdays when you want stuff before Tuesday, right?
Right.
Okay, so I will set that goal to have it to you guys by Monday then, because that'll give you guys 3 days.
We meet on Wednesday. This commission is its official meeting next week.
Already March.
Time flies, I know. That's why I have the corner office here to just remind you.
Well, then maybe what I'll do is we'll dedicate a little bit of time on the agenda. I'll get it out to everybody ahead of time, and everyone can look at it, but I'll dedicate some time to the agenda on Wednesday for review and feedback on the job description so we can get it to Jen for Thursday. That sounds good to everybody. Awesome. You guys, thank you. You're all amazing, and your feedback is amazing, and we're excited for the next chapter, and it's definitely going to be positive, and I swear to God, we'll never have to hire anyone again so long as I'm on this commission, because if we do, I will just run screaming from the room. Awesome. Does anyone have anything else? Then we will make a motion to adjourn. It is
I'll make
9,
that motion.
and I have a second.
Second.
All right, meeting is adjourned. It is 9:43 a.m. Thank you guys for joining us on this happy Wednesday. See you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All
Thanks, Cass, for showing.
Thank you,
Thank
Cass.
you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Cass.
Bye.
Bye.